College of Idaho football team will soon know more about what the upcoming season looks like for them. At this point in time, all options are on the table, including the idea of moving football to the spring. In fact, the Cascade Collegiate Conference is currently leaning towards the idea of postponing fall sports. Here's the catch, though. The College of Idaho football team plays in the Frontier Conference, and they're currently favoring a fall kickoff. Because a majority of the College of Idaho programs play in the Cascade Collegiate Conference, it means that all of their sports will ultimately fall under that umbrella. Therefore, should there be a split decision between the two leagues, it might mean the Yotes don't get to play football at all in the upcoming academic school year. Today, I caught up with head coach Mike Moroski for more on the uncertain times that lie ahead. Coach Moroski, it obviously feels like the sports landscape is ever-changing because of all the impacts of COVID-19. Later on this week, it looks like you guys are going to find out your fate, whether you play in the fall or in the spring, and it seems like they're leaning towards the spring at this moment. So what are your thoughts about moving football back to the springtime?
Well, I'm very apprehensive, to be honest with you. First of all, let me say the COVID is the real deal. I mean, there's people dying, and no one's happy about that. There's a lot of people sick, and no one's happy about that. I'm not happy about that. I know that our presidents and athletic director Regan Rossi and literally 50 other people, have task forces going, and they're consulting with medical professionals. There always has to be an intelligent, safe approach. I just don't think that postponement solves all the issues.
There you go.
Talking to my players, it's crushing for them. And again, I'm not a scientist. Does it seem more healthy to be practicing in August and September or in January and February?
I feel like I know you well enough to ask you this question, but you personally, being around hundreds of young athletes, are you worried about COVID at all?
Well, thanks for putting it so kindly, Jay. I am concerned in one sense that I don't want to get the COVID, but I'm listening and reading all the time, and I just think there's a way.
Nice job.
I'm above all concerned for my players' safety, coaches, but I don't want to be so over concerned that it becomes problematic and prohibitive to do anything.
I know the NAI level is much different than, FBS Division I football in terms of resources and money, and that does apply to testing. So does the College of Idaho have a plan of how they will handle athletes that are showing COVID-19 symptoms or anything like that?
So the NAIA rule right now is that every athlete in every sport, that they have to take a COVID test negative 7 days before the first competition. And that may well be the only test that we take throughout the year unless there's symptoms. You're right. The availability of the tests also is a significant problem.
If the season is moved back to spring, how much does that change things for you here, maybe even by this weekend?
It changes drastically, but we do what we do. We would treat the fall as kind of like we normally treat a spring. And so we would just continue on track. Guys need to lift. But what I've loved about being here, Jay, is it's football country. I love Boise State, love what Coach Harsin is doing, love the high school coaches in the Treasure Valley. And I really, really, really love what we're doing here in Caldwell. And it's exciting and fun. And I think in the midst of the pandemic, people need normalcy.
Moroski emphasized that all of his players will continue to do symptom testing every time they enter the facility, weight room, or practice facilities. Also, even if there are games this fall, Moroski knows that the stands will look quite a bit different. Finally, Moroski told me today that they have had one player test positive for COVID-19. After doing some contact tracing, 24 additional players and Moroski himself were then tested. All 25 of those tests came back negative. Stick around. We'll have more on the news at 10 right after the break.